Hey guys, Eternize here. Today we're going to be talking about mid-side processing in Hardstyle, because from what I see from my clients and the mixes that I've mastered for them recently is that properly balancing the mid and side signal can be a bit of a tricky job. And that's totally understandable, because what we took away from my previous video on how Hardstyle has evolved over the past 10-15 years was that tracks has become not only louder but also wider. And this increase in width simply means that it puts more demand on you and your mixing decision as a producer. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Mixing decisions that actually allows your mix to be wide. First things first, in order to help us make correct decisions, we need span. And then we need to set it up to display the energy in the mid and side signals separately. If you don't know how to do that, I made a video a couple years back that will help you set it up the way I have it here. So when using span, we're going to be looking at two things. First and foremost, we have the spectrum analyzer. And specifically what we're going to look at is the relation between the mid and side signal. So for optimal loudness and width, you want equal mid and side energy. So the mid and side curve should be hovering around the same level. And the second thing in span is the correlation meter down here. To make it short, hovering around 0 is a good thing, meaning we have good mid-side levels, and leaning towards the negative side to the left here means we might have a problem with both loudness and compatibility. Okay, now let's look at some scenarios with mid-side processing. First, this is the test project that we're working in today, and this is what it sounds like. So I want to start out by isolating the low end because this is causing some problems in this part of the track. So when analyzing in span, we can see that the side signal is a lot louder than the mid signal. And if we take a look at the correlation meter, we can also see that the meter is leaning towards the negative side. So again, this is two indicators pointing towards the problem with this individual sound. So now to fix this problem, what a lot of producers would say is that, well, since this is a problem with the width of the low end, let me grab this mid-side EQ and simply reduce the low end energy, or better yet, simply cut it out with a low cut. And if we do that and only focus on the correlation meter, we can see that it seems to have fixed the issue that we were having, right? But now the issue is, what about the rest of the spectrum? The rest of the spectrum is still really overpowering in the side signal, and what it does is that it uses a lot of the space that you would otherwise prioritize for your lead, right? You want your lead to have all of this mid and top end energy. Another thing to potentially worry about is the fact that any adjustment with an EQ will change the phase relations in the sound, and that might in other ways worsen your sound as well, so that's no good either. Also, low cutting low end like this can so easily be overdone, and this is my experience with the mixes that I receive from clients. The cuts are made way too deep in the mix, and so all the energy in the low end is gone. So stop doing this, you're doing too much. So all in all, this does not seem to be the best approach to this issue. Now, what I would advise instead is a much simpler solution. How about we just reduce the energy of the side signal across the entire spectrum? Let's see what that does in comparison. As you can see in the spectrum, the mid and side energy is now beautifully aligned. This is what we are after, because this gives us the best condition for most loudness without issues with the side signal. Looking at the correlation meter, it's also much more controlled and hovering more around the center line. It does still go to the negative side, but that's completely natural since we're dealing with a detuned saw wave with multiple voices. So this is not a problem at all. In fact, it's how it should be looking, because it indicates that we have a wide sound, but it's still mono compatible. Next, we're looking at the same scenario but with the lead. So what I see in the mixes of almost all of my clients is that the mid-side relation in the lead specifically is out of balance. What this indicates to me is that the client thought that the lead needed some more high-end in specific areas, and then he took a mid-side EQ and spot increased the mid or side energy in this specific area. And when you do this, the result might be something like this. So as we can see, the balance of the high end in the lead is completely off, right? Some areas of the mid signal is overpowering and some areas of the side signal is overpowering. So this look of the frequency curve can be one of two things. One, the client has used a mid-side EQ and put the high end off balance like this. And two, it might be because of the individual sounds included in the lead is putting it off balance. But that's more of an issue of sound selection. So if you find yourself using a mid-side EQ to make the kinds of adjustment that made your lead look like this, let me tell you, it's not the right approach. Once again, there's a target frequency curve and it's not all messy like this. The target frequency curve is smooth across the top and with equal amounts of energy in the mid and side signal. Another thing to avoid is in the cases where your lead in general needs a lift in the side energy. And you might be tempted to pick up a mid-side EQ and then spot increase the parts of your lead that needs widening. But just as explained before, it comes with the potential of all kinds of issues, with things being out of balance and phase issues and so on. Really, you're just exposing yourself to all of these issues. So again, my advice would be to just stick to the basics and increase the side signal across the entire frequency range. This approach has reliably given me better results when processing leads, or any sound for that matter. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.